I mean, you got to think. Look, the Good News Cruise, they might have Jonathan Rumi, they might have Matt Maher,
Yeah.
they might have Andrea Bocelli, but we have me. Okay. Anyway, it's time for a chat with Pat.
I thought you were going to say, but we have Joni Watson.
Yeah, and
What
it
more
is time
could
for
you
don't
want?
have
Ron, you are right. It is time for Joni.
I know. My gosh, we're all over the Good News Cruise. Joni, how you doing today?
I am great. I wish I was on a Good News Cruise. But
Yeah.
so we're all toiling
Joni, do you
through
think-
the pilgrimage of life.
I know. Do you think you and I could get a package deal? Maybe we could both get on there, maybe do a little talking and having a little fun.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think we should do our own. What
Oh.
are we talking about? We should do our own
Oh,
cruise.
there we
Come
go.
on. They
Okay.
should hire us. to do the
Yes,
next
that's
one.
right. Maybe if you can come to Ohio, we can get on the what's the one that goes out of Lake Erie?
Sandpiper?
There's a boat that goes out of Lake Erie that
I'm
travels
in.
to Put in Bay. Remember? Yeah, you and I could
Let's
just
do
get
it.
on there and talk for like 20 minutes. Okay. Well, and just to let everybody know, if you're joining us for the first time, Joni Watson is an author and a speaker, and she is amazing. And we're talking about a book she has written, Making a Pilgrimage, a companion for Catholics. And just to kind of remind people that this is a great book, and I think it's a great book for Lent, especially because Lent reminds us of this journey through Lent, through a Holy Week as we get to the resurrection. And it's not just about making a physical pilgrimage, it's about this spiritual pilgrimage, the pilgrimage of life. So you can use it either way. Okay, now I'm done talking. Joni, let's go with you. We're talking about chapter 4 today. And so I want you to kind of dig in here because the name of the chapter is The Church's Pilgrim. And one of the things that jumped out of me right away, so I want to kind of give you this cue. How does the word parish influence our understanding of pilgrimage?
Yeah, so this is a packed chapter,
It is.
I think. So we are looking at the Church's Pilgrim, which is an awesome image that comes from the Second Vatican Council. We can talk about that. But what you are talking about is the fact that our word for parish comes from the Greek word for sojourner. We talked about earlier, in an earlier episode, we talked about how, there is no word for pilgrim in the Greek and the Hebrew, that in the Old Testament it talks about being sojourners, being wanderers. And so we have this Greek word, sojourner. And so this idea that our parish is actually a group of pilgrims. We are a group of pilgrims that get together to worship the Lord and to continue in our pilgrimage of life together. And so looking at the people around you in your parish and realizing, first of all, this world is passing. Even what we're doing here on earth in the liturgy, in a sense, is passing because it points towards that liturgy in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all in this together. And so as it's passing, as these things are passing away, we are pilgrims together, and that calls us to support each other, to accompany each other, to be there for each other here on earth and intercede for each other to get each other to heaven.
And as I read that, I thought, this is a cool way of when you're in church, as you pray, but also to look around at everyone that is there and pray for them on the journey too, right? I mean, it really gives you more of a flavor of what and who you should be on this journey. And you mentioned Lumen Gentium. And obviously that is a document from Vatican II. Can you give us a little insight? What does that document tell us about this kind of the church as pilgrim?
Yeah, so the whole 7th chapter, actually, I got the Church's Pilgrim, chapter 4, in Making a Pilgrimage, is an allusion to chapter 7 of Lumen Gentium, which is the Second Vatican Council's document on the church. The title of it is the eschatological nature, the pointing towards the end nature of the pilgrim church and its union with the church in heaven. That's a really long title for that chapter. This idea that the church is on pilgrimage. The church is not perfect. Mm-hmm. It's a mysterious, and Lumen Gentium talks about this, it's a mystery that the church is both imperfect and perfect. It's human and divine. It's passing and it's eternal. Right. So this mystery of the church in our daily life is that we look at the church as an institution and realize it's imperfect. Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's a pilgrim. It is journeying towards its end in heaven, and that can help us, deal even mentally or spiritually, emotionally with when we do see sin in the church, we have to remember that this church is pilgrim. It's made up of pilgrims. And sometimes we fall and sometimes we come off the path. And we have to be there for each other. And the church in heaven, the church triumphant, is there as our model for what the church should look like and as intercessor for us as we're pilgrimaging. So this chapter kind of touches on the need for community here on earth. So look at that parish community as the people that are helping me get to heaven, whether that's they're praying for me or whether they're giving me something to offer up during Mass when they're, clicking their rosary beads or their kids screaming in my ear. That helps me get to heaven too, right? As I offer up my companion. But then also that the church in heaven is helping us get there too because they're interceding for us. And so we need companions. There is no such thing as solo travel when it comes to the pilgrimage on earth. We can't be solo travelers.
And you mentioned, obviously, kind of in the sense of who we travel with, right? And you talk about the communion of saints being so powerful here. How is that so powerful for us?
Yeah, so they are both our model, right? We look to them as examples of people who've fought the fight, finished the race. And so there are examples, and when we get to know the saints, we realize that there are people from every vocation, from every, nationality, that have crazy life stories, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever you're going through, a saint probably went through it. So they are our model for life. I always talk about how I want to see those ordinary, everyday saint stories.
Yeah.
Because those are the relatable ones, and that's a whole other topic probably. But they're our model, but they're also our intercessors. And so we look to them. The saints prayed to the saints. I recently posted on the Feast of St. Agatha on Instagram. I posted a story that St. Agatha and St. Lucy are connected because they and now I'm on the spot. I'm going to forget whether Agatha prayed to Lucy. I think Agatha prayed to Lucy. I forget whether Lucy prayed to Agatha or Agatha prayed
to Lucy. I think
it's
Agatha to Lucy, yeah.
Yeah, so Agatha prayed, and isn't that beautiful that the saints went on pilgrimage to other saints and asked for their intercession? I posted yesterday on my Substack, in my Substack article about how Maximilian Kolbe went to Lourdes and went to Lisieux to pray. Can you imagine praying next to St. Maximilian Kolbe at the Grotto of Lourdes, not knowing that this guy is going to be one of the greatest saints of the 20th century?
Wow.
But saints go on pilgrimage to ask for intercession, to ask for help, as we should too.
Yeah. And Joni, can you kind of help us, because you mentioned in the book, kind of these physical pilgrimages, right, where we actually go to the tombs. I mean, when I was in Rome, when you're at these tombs of these great saints. But what can people do that can't do those physical pilgrimages to kind of keep in mind that the saints are a part of their journey?
Yeah, especially during Lent, maybe it's turning towards the stories of the saints, getting a good lives of the saints. There's some great compilations. There's a book on married saints. There's a book on, just the general saint calendar. Butler's Lives of the Saints, kind of the classic. But maybe it's spending this Lent getting closer with the saints and each day having a different intercessor and asking them for help. Even if we can't physically go on pilgrimage to their tomb, learning more about them and helping, actually just becoming their friends, getting to know them, and then asking for their intercession. There's a great book by Meg Hunter Kilmer called Pray for Us, where she talks about saints who've struggled through life.
Right.
And so getting to know the saints perhaps during this Lent and asking them for their help.
Oh, Joni, this is, again, just a wonderful, wonderful book. We are not done with Chapter 4, so we'll talk a little bit more about it next Thursday. So thanks so much for being with us, Joni. Really appreciate it.
Sounds great, Pat. Have a great day.
You too.